Audio? All right, I see close enough to six, and so we will go ahead and call this to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will start with roll call. Brent?
Here.
Guy?
Here.
Ken?
Here.
Nate? Here. And Jeff is here. And I see Kyle for public comment. So Kyle, you've got 3 minutes.
So I just came in to kind of talk about, I think there's kind of some growing concerns. There's certainly concerns of our family coming from another school district that was K through 12 and having some experience with the littles drop off pickup. And, what I initially observed coming here was just kind of Wild West of people dropping off kids, and I think a big concern is you've got people dropping off in a parking lot over here by the basketball courts, kids running across the grass. There's cars parked, end to end, and it doesn't take much for a kid to pop up between cars. There's parents parking all the way up the street, around the corner, and then you get in front of the school where, yes, there's a drop-off pickup, but it only seems to work for drop-off. It doesn't really seem to work much for pickup. And there's kids kind of dispersing all over. I had a run-in where, I was cited for something, speeding apparently in there, and it kind of took my attention more to look at overall the school zone when kids come in and out, because I just felt like I was in the wrong. And the more I looked at it, the more I realized there was a lot of gray area here. I see that there's new signs that come up to end school zones. But there's a lot of gray area for interpretation. I'd love to see more talk about it from not only the village, but from the police department and the school and concerned parents. I believe active signs are needed for crossing areas, especially the fact that the school owns property adjacent to here down the road. You got kids in athletics crossing that street all the time, and obviously Main Street is a very busy street. And also, I'm not quite sure that the parking is fully resolved. I mean, we've introduced now an exit into an area that's very, very, populated with kids and cars, and there's not the greatest lineage. It's just very gray. And I think it's confusing, not only for somebody that we used to live here, and obviously have great ties with the community, but to walk in here with experience from another school and see this, I just think that there's room for improvement. It's not an upset thing, but I think it's something that needs to be looked at further. I think there's maybe some money that needs to be spent on some active crossing signs. I don't know if crossing guards are the answer, but at least something out there for that one area where kids are crossing to get people's attention. And maybe signs that activate on time, because that's a busy area, and if you sit there and watch, there's 50% of the people even pay attention. I don't care how bright the signs are, they're not active, there's no flashing lights, and this school is surrounded by 360 degrees of public road. It's kind of unique. You look at other schools in the district, you look at Ryle, you look at all these other schools, and they're at least tucked away where you can control the traffic in and out. And you've got 2 lanes of traffic that circle the entire school. Clearly, in front of the school where the active traffic signs are do work. You can see that it works. There's less issue there, but you get to over here, parking, you got, young kids leaving in cars, you've got parents coming, some are smart, some are obviously not paying attention to anything. And it's kind of Wild West of where do we park, where do we pick up. I can give my experience from CWC, that's where we were before. They formed a line, and that's the only way you pick up and deliver your kids. And if you want to hand deliver them to the school, you park in the parking lot, you walk them in. And that was it. And it might suck sitting in a line, but it was the most safest, well organized. There was teachers out there with megaphones, and they controlled the traffic in and out, and you're talking to K through 12 schools, so it's the same kind of aspect. I'd love to see more focus on it. I know it's not gonna happen overnight, but I think that there's better ways of doing traffic here. Certainly I'm not an expert in the traffic field. That's something that the police department can probably aid in. They've got, authority in that, but I've heard from people, across the board, talked to a lot of people about it from one way in and out of here, during certain times, whether that's a logistic nightmare, I'm not quite sure, but, just maybe better striping, maybe some permanent posts in the area here where it spreads out, because it's kind of a weird space. I watch it all the time. Come in and drop my daughter off, and then there's 4 cars trying to meet in one spot, and everybody's waiting for kids to cross the crosswalk. You know, I'd also probably like to challenge the fact that if that is a fire lane, then buses should not be parked there. If civilians can't park cars there, I don't see how buses can. They're not emergency vehicles. I think dropping kids off for games and then maybe having the buses park over near the bus barn in that parking lot and wait. But to say that people can't park in front of the school in a red, but the buses can sit and idle, I don't know that that's legal. You know, they're not an emergency vehicle. So I think there should be maybe it's a committee of people that look at it, that brings some thoughts and ideas together. Again, I'm not an expert in it, but it's concerning. It's concerning for the long run, and I think it's something that probably has maybe been band-aided for many years and just hasn't really been addressed. And the fact that the school is growing, the community is growing, maybe not heavily, but it's growing, and people are more concerned with this when they're driving than they are kids crossing streets. So, you know, I would love to see some more focus on it, and that's just my 2 cents.
No, I appreciate it. I think you wanted to
Yeah,
comment.
no, and I would say, I think as a board, we all agree with it. When we were starting the referendum, we had tossed ideas around as far as parking lot size was concerned. We had talked about, trying to purchase the street in front of the school back from the city of Fall River. There's issues there as far as sewer pipes and things that are under the road. It's probably not a great liability for us. We have talked about creating a committee with the fire department, the police station, and that kind of stuff. We've also, we've talked about a traffic engineer, somebody that, again, we can create a group and we can, because, I want this and that person wants this and this person wants this because the person who experiences, a traffic engineer would really kind of settle everything. So I guess I would just say this isn't something we haven't talked about. And I think it's probably been, it's probably been made a little bit more, public because, tickets, in the street and
I think
whatnot.
that's definitely gotten attention.
And again, I think to your, and I think to your point though, it's a smaller community. If you look at the students out in 2018 and what students are in 2025, and school choicing in, there's certainly more people around, and that's not an excuse, that's the truth. So we have had the conversation and started the conversation.
But I think, the biggest thing is we agree it's the beginning of the conversation. It's not going to happen overnight. Chief is very active. He was in the school the other week. There's lots of emails, so I appreciate you bringing it up. It's definitely something that will continue to focus.
Yeah, and again, I'm not an expert at it, but I think parents have common sense for the most part and want to see what's good for their kids and want to have some input on it. And, I think there's enough space to probably clean up how things go and, having a solid plan so that you can then alone educate parents. And I think that's where the disconnect sometimes comes, is it's like the Wild West out there, people coming, picking up kids and dropping them off, and it's a slurry of kids all over. I just fear that at some point, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Understood. Thank you, Kyle. All right, we will move on to a student council update. Oh, she takes notes.
I remember.
Oh, wow. This is unbelievable. Dennis, why do you like cupcakes so much?
Okay, so as far as student council goes, we have planned on, I'm not too sure about door decorating anymore, but for sure we have activities going on Friday for all of the students. So we have movies, board games, just a whole list of what they can sign up for, so we know where they're at and everything. There's study hall in case they need to get things done. So yeah, that's pretty much our plan. The games this year are a no-go because students really don't like to join in on them. So yeah, that's about it. And as far as treats, I brought you guys my favorite treat from when I was little. It's called a buñuelo. It's just like a fried pastry fritter kind of thing with cinnamon sugar. So
Awesome, thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Fantastic, thank you. Leave your
And if
hands
I-
off him, Kyle.
And if I don't see that if I see that the box is empty, I will be very happy, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep,
you.
thanks.
All right, we will move on to Celebrate Fall River. Do we want to start with Miss Buzzle, or who's Buzzle?
So we have Mrs. Buzzle here with some students. So Mrs. Buzzle, thanks for joining us tonight as part of the GT program.
I like that your name's on your shirt.
I was a student a couple years ago and white out today. Figured why not? we've had 3 events so far this year. We did a leadership workshop at Devil's Lake in September, where we took 9 students from Fall River in the middle school over there, and they did an obstacle course, and then went over to Devil's Lake and did like some canoeing where they had to work together, which is always interesting for kids who've never canoed before. And then our next event, yeah, some of them end up going around. It's kind of funny, but yeah, they do have an adult that goes out and helps them if they get stranded out there. And then our next event was in November, and so Jacob's here for that one. It was a math meet at Chula Vista, and what it is a half day where this year there were 443 students there from grades 5 through 8, and there was at least 13 schools. And there's this huge like area at Chula Vista that they donate for this event, and so they give top 3 awards for each grade, and then the top 2 teams. And Jacob here took 2nd place for the 5th grade overall, with all the students there. And do you want to share anything you took from the event, or something you thought was like fun or challenging?
The test was pretty hard, but I don't know.
Is there something that
Obviously, you
like
did pretty good.
so they have like an individual round, and then they have a team round. How did the team round go?
Our team did not place, but we just tried our hardest and tried to get the answers right.
Was it a little easier with the team round since you had other people to bounce ideas? Yeah.
It was easier with the team because we got to check our answers and stuff.
Yeah, so they literally sit, like, half of them are on one side table, and then there's another grade level from another school on the other side. And so they have 30 minutes to answer, I think it was like 8 or 10 questions, right? And 10 questions, and so, and then, yeah, and all of us adults, they're correcting all the tests from the first round while they're doing the team round, and then we correct them all at the end. So I was so proud and excited. And what did you get you got a medal, and what else did you get?
I got a medal and a certificate, and I also got a free one-day water park pass to Chula Vista.
Yeah.
Nice.
So excited about that. And then our next event, which was just beginning of December, we had a Where in the World competition up in Adams Friendship at the middle school there. And this year there were 222 kids from 13 schools, which was 120 more than the year before. And the woman who was in charge was like, if we have more kids, we're gonna have to go to the high school on this, because we kind of maxed out the middle school there. And so again, that competition has an individual round, and then they have a team round. And so, and we're able to bring, oh, I forgot, for the math meet we had 23 students that went. For the Where in the World, we're able to bring 5 kids from each grade, 5th grade through 8th grade, so we had 20 students there. And so AJ was one of them who was there with his team in 5th grade. And how did you do, AJ?
On the
What did you place?
second,
So he took 2nd place overall for the 5th grade students. And so what did you think of the competition?
I thought the questions were pretty hard, because this one was like, what Australian state is separated from Australia? And I'm like, why would I know that?
Because I don't know either, buddy.
In all fairness, for the individual round that he did get 2nd place for, all the kids grades 5th through 8th have the same test. And so, and then the team round, what did you think of the team round? Because they all sit at one table together and come up with an answer.
There was this one question, and it was, what what Central American nation speaks English? And at first I thought like, Jamaica, but it was in the Caribbean. But like at the last 5 seconds, I was like, wait, Belize, but my team had already said Jamaica, and it was Belize.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was an exciting day. The kids had a good time, and our 7th grade team took, well, they were tied. There were 5 teams that were tied for 3rd place. So then they have to go to certain questions and individual scores. So they did not place 3rd place overall, but it was kind of exciting that they had tied for 3rd place that way. So it's great overall, and like coming up, we have the spelling bee coming up in January. On the 14th is the school bee, and then the 27th will be the regional bees in Portage. for both elementary and middle school. So we have those coming up. So a lot going on, and congratulations to these two. So proud of them.
I mean, I know the answer to Australia, but what was it?
I don't even remember. We didn't. When we,
I mean, do you know? No.
when we have to correct this one is another one where we have to correct the test. So we corrected all. There's a whole bunch of us
Okay.
corrected them, and we don't get to see the questions. We just have the answer key, and they're real strict and specific on what it has to say. And I mean, some of the questions I didn't even know what they were. I honestly thought the team round was one of the harder rounds, like because the questions I'm like, so. But yeah, the kids did a good job, and I think they had fun with it. So.
Great job. Great job. Great job, both.
Thank you.
Smart ass.
Good job, guys. And next we have the Ryans. Or just one Ryan.
All right, so
He's gonna video record.
we were asked to, no, we're not, we got some recordings for you guys, but, we have, sometimes I get badgered into things. And with everything going on this year, it's been a hectic year. I've kind of been trying to pick and choose what I wanted to get done. We've had a lot of people that know me from all the stuff I've done between here and my previous school, the stuff they've seen us make, and they're like, you should really do this Make 48 challenge. So Make 48 is a TV show that's on PBIS. Basically, in the TV show, what happens is a team of 3 students and 1 mentor. They get paired up with a company, and they get a challenge, and then they have to come up with a product. So it's kind of a combination of like, I guess with problem solving with Shark Tank. So then they have to sell that product. So we were put into a bracket. We had 4 teams from our school all play 4 1-minute video clips after they talk about their project. And then we competed against Ripon High School. We competed against Ames, Iowa, and West Dubuque. So there was some tough competition for us. On the stakes were a chance to win $2,000 and then to make the TV show. So these guys have been working along with their other 3 groups, have been working all semester on their challenge to see what they could do. We are teamed up with Alliant Energy. Alliant Energy, it was egg-based this year. Their goal is they're losing telephone poles to farm equipment. And so the students had to come up with a solution and meet, like we met with Alliant Energy 4 times?
3, I think.
4 counting the presentation, I think. And then they had, each team did that, and then they got chosen. So the 2 gentlemen plus Keelan, who's not here tonight, won our regional. So these guys are going to be on TV. They each won $500. So they're pretty excited about that. It becomes official on Friday, but I did get permission for us to present. Yeah, so it's gonna be out there, we got permission, but they had to sign NDAs and everything for their product. So they might actually, like Alliant Energy, or could buy their product for them if they wanted to. So we'll let them talk. You can just click through these first few.
Okay. I'm Eli Christian, and
I'm Isaiah.
And we were, like he said, the winners of Make 48 Challenge for our regionals. How we got our solution. So our solution was, well, first, our problem was, as he said, tractors are running into telephone lines and telephone poles. And the way we fixed that is we decided to attach cameras to the ends of, like, the tractor, like, for specifically sprayers and stuff. Like, add it to the end of, like, a boom or something, so that they can see out there, so they don't, like, while they're going into the field, they don't run into a telephone pole.
And not the magnets, the cameras are magnetic, so you can move them around anywhere you want.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, that helps save a lot of costs on the damage.
Yeah. So then, like you said, they can be moved around anywhere you want. They could be placed at, like, the front or things like that.
Also, it's Bluetooth.
Yeah, it connects to your phone via Bluetooth through the app that we planned on making. And so you could have multiple cameras, so you could switch back between the 2. And the way we got to our product is, like, the way we chose this specific one to use and present was we used the engineering process. We used the engineering process, which is we thought up of a bunch of ideas where we thought of a bunch of ideas, and so we thought of a bunch of ideas and narrowed it down based off things like cost, how easy they were to implement, and if people actually wanted to use those specific items. Then we picked one, we sketched it out. That was for our first mini, it was kind of like a presentation with Alliant where we just bounced ideas off of them, kind of. Like checked with them to see if this would be available, like if we were able to actually do it. And then we actually prototyped it. I forgot to grab the prototype. But yeah,
That's a picture of it.
yeah.
I guess, once they did that, they had to put together a video clip. Let me get to this. So each team, I pulled their video clips for what they had to do. So to get picked for the final round, we submitted a 1-minute video from each group. So I brought all of them. I didn't bring all the kids tonight. They're all busy. They're doing stuff. These guys came from wrestling practice. And then from that pick, then they picked one from each school to compete for the final contest. I can tell you the reason this group did as well as they did. One of the first meetings they had with Alliant's like, we don't want anything attached to the telephone poles. They're very particular about that. And honestly, of all the groups that presented at the final thing, there's only 2 of them, and I know that from our teams, because our teams had stuff that was attached to poles also. There's only 2 of them that didn't do that. So it's kind of interesting because we were all given the same information, but the kids had a hard time getting through that because it was a conversation I had even with our other group. Lion doesn't want that. Why are we making this? But you sometimes got to let the kids figure that out. So what we'll do is I'll play their company with TrackCam. I'll play their video first. And then I'll do our other 2 high schoolers. And then CLK Pros is actually, we had a group of 7th graders that presented. So we put that on there too.
Yep, you did.
Do it? No. Oh, look at that. Keller, I had it all
To
set.
avoid accident. We are EIK, and we would like to show you our product, the TrackCam, an adjustable camera that can be used on farm implements to avoid accidents. There are many cases of tractors running into low-hanging power lines and power poles while entering and exiting the field. Our product helps the drivers avoid that by giving them a clearer line of sight to the poles. Our products can magnetically mount to the tractor in any orientation and can be adjusted to see any angle by moving the hinge. To see the video feed, all you need to do is connect it to your phone through Bluetooth. Our product could make it so that there are very few crashes. This could make farming safer for farmers and cheaper for the energy companies and farmers by reducing damage to all equipment used.
So that's one of ours.
Hi, our names are Clara, Ellie, and Elizabeth, and we are Safe Span AgriSystems. We have been asked to solve the real-world problem of the danger of electricity poles and fields. Every year, there are about 4 accidents with farm machinery and electrical poles. Our goal is to solve this problem and make everything safer. Before starting prototypes, we did some research by asking farmers to give their insight. After reviewing our new knowledge, we set out to create our product. The idea is to have reflectors that wrap around the pole, which will make the pole more visible, but not blinding, in a dark or foggy situation. Our design uses strips with reflective material on top and are connected by hinges to wrap around the pole. This product will also allow for a safer environment when it comes to electrical poles and fields. This is Safe Span AgriSystems with connector reflectors.
So you can see they had some fun they had to film all the videos, come up with all the topics and stuff that they wanted to present.
In the farming industry, farmers are constantly dealing with running into power poles during late nights and early mornings due to fatigue and lack of visibility. We've asked farmers and they gave us data that shows how much time and money is lost because of this. That's why we created PoleGlow, to directly address this issue.
PoleGlow is a simple, easy-to-use, and cost-effective solution that helps farmers see these power poles late at night in the dark when they are tired. We've asked farmers how much money our product can save them. Not only can it save them six-figure amounts, it can save you guys at Alliant Energy resources and time, ensuring your customers always have the power they need. Here is our demo vinyl reflective material. He's going to spray it on with the weatherproof adhesive, slap it on at the 7-foot mark, so a sprayer can see under the sprayer boom at night. Here's the other demo reflective material. He's going to put it on at the 14-foot mark, so a combine and tractor driver can see it at eye level. We'd love to explore how PoleGlow Industries can integrate PoleGlow into your operations. Let's schedule a quick demo to show how this could save both Alliant Energy and farmers time, resources, and money. Reach out today. Find more info at poleglow.com.
And then our last one here.
Utility teams. You know the story. Every season, a farmer gets a little too focused on planting those perfectly straight rows. Bam! Another power pole decides to sacrifice itself for agriculture. And honestly, nobody wants to fill out those paperwork and explaining why a 40-foot pole is now leaning like the Tower of Pisa.
That's why we created Farmsite Innovations, CLK Pro, a simple, smart device designed to stop equipment pole collisions before they happen. With real-time alerts and wide range detection, it warns operators when they're getting too close. It's basically a helpful little buddy yelling, "Hey, that's not a corn stalk."
Built for tough field conditions, it's rugged, accurate, and blissfully simple. No confusing screens, no subscriptions. Just mount it, power it on, and let it quickly save you from a whole lot of headaches. So if you're tired of replacing poles, rolling trucks, and getting those, you might want to see this called CLK Pro is your new best friend. Keep your poles upright, your crew happy, and your poles standing tall, like it's supposed to.
So, you can see a wide array. I think it's kind of a cool program. It's something where they have to create a business. They have to do all the problem solving. I know they put a ton of time into it. It's exciting for our team of 3 that's going to get to be on the TV show. We'll get some publicity out of it, which will be pretty cool. That comes in end of July, beginning of August. That will be all expenses paid by the company to send us up to CW Stout to film that and produce whatever new product it is. They have to start completely from scratch, so kind of cool. Anything you guys got to add?
I mean, the only real con that I would say, you can't jam out some music because of the Bluetooth, but we're good.
So, I don't know if you guys have any questions for them or me or. Congratulations.
Yeah, I like it. Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, and as always, anyone that wants to go, you're welcome to. So we will now move on to meeting minutes. So the meeting minutes were available in our packet. Any questions? Otherwise, I will take a motion to approve the minutes from November 19th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 19th school board meeting.
We have a motion by Guy. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ken. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. We'll move on to a treasurer's report.
You got the data in your packet. It's the same exact type of thing and numbers that we had last time, very, very similar, so I don't have really a lot of comments about that. What I would comment financially is about, we're at property tax time, and I just discussed with the finance committee how our mill rate was on target, kind of where we expected to be this year. The community, we all individually had to pay a little bit more than we'd have liked to on property tax of the increase in the school district, because normally when the legislature allows a revenue limit increase, they often match it in state aid so that it doesn't go to the property tax. But this year, they didn't even give it part way to split it evenly between property tax and state aid. They just give zero state aid interest. So any increase we had to go to the property tax. So that's why, even though our mill rate was about the same, what we expected, it still ended up being a few more dollars than most people would have liked, because there was no increase in state aid this year.
All right, any questions on the treasurer's report? All right, I will then take a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll put a motion, Jeff, to accept the treasurer's report.
A motion by Ken, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Nate, all those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right, and now details for both payroll and vouchers were provided in our packet. So having reviewed, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve payroll for 12/30 through 1/15 and vouchers 428-426 through 428-546 and 2025-00213 through 2025-00267 and 252-600-076 through 252-600-094 in the amount of $581,844.55. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Nate. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right, moving on to gifts and donations.
All right, so this month we have quite a few to list off here. FFA National Convention donations were provided by IDO Feed and Supply, and Ethel Salzman. There was also just some general CTE donations by Martha and David Shroud and Doug and Colleen Waterworth. Some winter clothing was donated to the school by Sharon Milkey, Ellie Glutzman, and Compeer Financial. Booster Club donated a mixer for the band, timer for girls basketball, and pizza for the fall play. Schumann Printers donates money to the musical department every year, so that's what that one is. And then HOSA received some donations for gift baskets, and as I was talking to Nurse Jess about that, they're providing gift baskets that include like blankets and books and hygiene products, and giving those to people in the area that may experience loneliness during the holidays. So their hope is to do about 50 plus baskets for families. And she said that was mostly run all by the kids, and it was kind of their idea. She just kind of helped them through it, so kind of a neat idea.
Full section every month.
That's a lot.
All right, we will move on to committee reports. I guess, is that me? Okay, so from Finance Committee, we met today, really to talk about a couple things. So, one, just the updated Baird model. So as we get more and more numbers coming in, looking forward to both next school year as well as kind of school years in the future. Obviously, we're operating currently under an operating referendum, which infuses capital both for ongoing expenses, but also for one-time projects. So we also went through the list of the one-time projects that were communicated to the community, both what has been completed and then what's planned for upcoming periods, and then how kind of those two things marry. Obviously, we also have the larger referendum, which we'll talk about next, which is kind of the more capital referendum side. So I would just say, continue to be very diligent on expenses, kind of reviewing every expense, every position, looking to, where are there opportunities to save cost, and then what's in the best district of the community, of the students, and really kind of balancing those two in very active dialogues. So, lots of details that I know Dennis or anybody else could walk through, but, we've got a packet of paperwork that we spent quite a bit of time on, all the assumptions underneath it. But overall, just a very active meeting in the Finance Committee. Any questions on Finance Committee? All right. We don't need a motion for that one, no. All right, so we'll move on to then a referendum report. I know I covered some.
So again, I'll give you a couple papers today. The first one I'm looking at is soft costs on our capital referendum. There was a couple things added this month. We updated the budget a little bit, or the abatement, the money for insurance builders risk is now an updated budget. You can see at this point, we're expecting to be under budget on abatement, under on furniture, over on equipment. We're trying to fully fund our new spaces to get them all the equipment they need to so they can be fully operational as soon as referendum's over, instead of build the space and then we gotta get the equipment later. We try to get all their equipment so they can hit the ground running. So there are some things we're over, some things we're under. Right now, we're a little bit under, at this point by $84,000 of what we're expected for the budget. On the second sheet, I try to highlight in goldenrod color things that have changed since last month, because you're getting this every month, so I want to let you see what the change was. The locker room went up about $2,500 is what we're thinking it's going to cost, as Brian finishes up the locker rooms on the other side. There's a little bit more expense yet, and, not a huge amount, but a little bit more, still less than what we expected. But really highlight the middle part, bathrooms, furniture, cabinets, all those kind of things are part of the operational referendum and things that we're looking at spending this year, next year, and what we had before the referendum started. We see all the numbers there, and now what we're expecting them to be. So the bathrooms are significantly less. Furniture, we had to remove a little bit because I think we were short on money. Cabinets are less than expected. Stage is less than expected. The network switching, Mr. Hartman will have bids for this next month, but he had like 4 different bids and came up with a really good one that covers what our needs are, way less than he expected. Then tech ed equipment, we're trying to put all the equipment into the capital referendum and not have to take it out of here. So that's good news as far as what those things are. For the capital referendum, the big dates are Friday at 10 o'clock. We're going to meet with Findorf. They've got all the bids in. I talked to our manager. He said he felt like they're coming in good, that we'll be on target. But they'll be in here at 10 o'clock on Friday to go over all the bids. We're supposed to get that in an email tomorrow ahead of time so we can look at it. So we're planning a meeting at 10 o'clock in my office to look at them ahead of time so that we can see if we can get grasp and understand what the bids look like before they come and just tell us what they are. Plus, it'll give us a chance to kick around some thoughts and ideas or just come up with questions that we know we need to ask. So those are 2 really big days, the next 2 days, and we should have some very important information before we go to Christmas. And then we will report out on all this probably to you at the January board meeting, which is early, I think. It's the second Wednesday, January 14th. Just make sure you remember it's not the third Wednesday, it's the second Wednesday in January. That's when the full board will probably discuss the project and say, you know what, this is what we think. We want to accept these bids. We want to do this project, and you'll commission the administration in Findorf to go ahead and build it.
Any questions on, I know I'm part of that working group, and again, there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of assumptions. This will be really nice on Friday to kind of turn assumptions into real numbers and basically kind of then you can make decisions, right? You can make the most decisions you can with assumptions, but then having real numbers really allows you to figure out where everything's gonna land.
And even like Jeff said, that we have the finance committee, but until we get these numbers in the next couple of days, we're just taking theoretically in the finance committee, we need these numbers so we can actually make decisions. So optimistic going into that again, we're gonna get good value for what the community approved, so. All right, any further questions on the referendum report? All right, we will move on to new business, and in a slight.
We can't leave it, he ended up having to leave, so he had something he had to get to, so we got a little long at the beginning.
Got it.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no. All right, so we'll move on then to new business and early graduation requests.
In your packet, you will see that we have a couple of early graduation requests. We can strike out, I think it's the first one in there, and Andrea, I think you can take care of that. We had one student who came to us on Tuesday and said, I really think I want to stay and not graduate early.
It is in your packet.
It is.
So that first one that's in your packet is.
The mail.
Is
Yep.
not, yeah.
That one is,
graduated
that student is not actually going to graduate early anymore. But then the other one, we already had sent one to you early because she had wanted to be able to apply for colleges and things like that. So we only have one additional one, student who is looking to graduate early. It is, again, another junior who would like to finish within 6 semesters instead of 8. She is on track right now. She was actually just meeting with Mrs. Liebenthal this week to talk about schooling and things like that post-high school. So I would recommend that you approve her graduating early.
Nationwide or statewide, is that something that's becoming more popular?
I think
Is
it
that a chain?
depends on the program that's set up and what the students want to do. So in this case, I mean, I think it's an anomaly right now from what I've heard of, and you can speak if you know more than I do. But just, I mean, to have two of them in 1 year, their class is a very solid class academically, they're also very driven to do things beyond high school. So my guess is no, not this early. It's much more common to go 7 semesters versus 6. But we do have students who here are ready to go on and take that next challenge.
All right, no, I don't have any questions. All right, well then I will take a motion, can I use the name or no?
I don't know, I feel like for confidentiality,
Yeah,
we probably
so we will
shouldn't.
go ahead and take a motion for the female early graduation application that was in our packet today.
I'll make the motion to approve early graduation request.
We have a motion by Nate, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Guy. All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. All those opposed. All right, moving on to district calendar.
You have a calendar in your packet. It mimics a little bit what we have this year. This year, we started early and tried to get out early. This one starts a little late to give Findorf time to make sure they really are done, but also to give staff who are in the new area time to get their classrooms set up. So just in case there's a glitch of some kind, we're anticipating starting September 8th. It could be a fairly long summer, and then try to crunch the numbers together, kind of like we did this year to get out early, to get out at a normal time. June 3rd would be the last day of school. You can see a spring break at near the end of March. It's very similar to this year, except just shifted back a little bit instead of shifted up this year. So there's a normal calendar. We shifted up a little bit this year. Now we're going to shift it back a little bit, but try to crunch together so that we can get the kids out at a fairly normal time. We would hope that the next year, I won't be part of this, but we've talked, we would like the next year to go back to the normal length and the normal days and try to remove some of the virtual days next year. That's the goal, to have more in-person days, and they'll get more out of those than the virtual days, but the virtual days are serving a purpose to get us out so the Findorf can get in here.
I'm sorry, you said next year, but remove the virtual days of the 27-28 school year.
That is the goal.
Okay. Yeah, I know we had a chance to review this, or at least give our thoughts in the education committee last month, so I know
Yeah,
I'm supportive.
Education committee looked at it. We met with all the staff so they could give their input on it too, so they could look at it and see. So it's been a fairly collaborative time. Besides us, this is like version 5, probably.
And the feedback that staff have been providing me has been positive. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've heard anything
No.
different, but
I have not. It says July of 2026. It says July 27th, summer school session.
2 for this current
Yeah,
year.
This current summer school, there's the
Ju-
normal one.
July
in June,
2027.
and then there's gonna be a gap.
When does summer school start in the first
In
semester
June?
or the first? Yeah, the first.
Around
the
June
second
1st or 2nd.
Okay.
I think it's the 1st to the 19th.
Okay.
And then there's a gap. Normally it comes, second session comes quick.
Yeah.
Now, since we're starting late, we're
Yes.
gonna have a break in the middle of summer, and then July 27th to August 14th
Yep.
would be the second summer session. Hoping that some parents are saying, it's been a long summer, go to
Yeah,
summer
right,
school.
right.
Have some fun, do something.
And there's that summer slide.
Yeah,
a
and-
lot of
and we-
schools do that second session sometimes later in the summer so that they can avoid some of that summer slide and get kids ready for the school year.
Yeah.
The dates you mentioned are also accurate.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, we should-
Good job.
I was checking.
It's numbers.
Yeah.
We should get feedback based on that to say, should that be the new precedence or the new way?
It might be a thing they'd like. My last district, that's kind of how we did it, but it was targeted. The first half was fun, enrichment. The second half was, you need to be ready for second grade. Let's get you in here and help you get ready.
That's where you have some of those jumpstart classes.
Yep,
that we can
jumpstart
look at.
second grade, yeah. And that's more appropriate time for it. They'll be more ready when they come back in September.
September 8th.
So, try something different.
Know how we're gonna make it through August. All right, any questions on the calendar?
I'll be fine. I don't got kids anymore. They're gone.
All right, I will take a motion to approve the 26-27 district calendar as proposed.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 Fall River School District calendar.
All right, we have a motion by Nate. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Jeff.
Seconded by Ken. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed.
Now, unless Neola watches this video, I'm not telling them we're delaying our start.
You said Neola, you meant Findorf.
Findorf, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not telling Findorf. I'm looking at the next item.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not telling Findorf we're delaying.
No. All right, we will move on then to the second reading of Neola.
There we go.
So you received your policies in your nice, big, thick packet that Andrea got ready for you. Did anybody have any questions or need any clarification on anything in there?
Stop talking about vouchers.
Perfect.
If this gets approved.
Yeah. All right, well, with that, I will take a motion to approve the second reading of Neola Policy Update 34.2.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of policy 34.2.
All right, we have a motion by Guy. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We got a second by Brent. All right, all those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right, we'll move on to parking lot.
The parking lot agreement that you have in your packet, as our lawyer helped us draw this up between us and the church. I met with the church first, they went through stuff, then Brian Anderson kind of tag teamed and took off and met with them and walked the parking lot, walked how they could be done. But as our lawyer put most of this in and their lawyer asked us some things, we kind of met together on this. They've agreed to it already. The biggest thing is they would allow us to use their parking lot to merge the two parking lots. We could park in that connected lots at any time we want. The berm would be gone. It would all be one fairly continuous lot. So you could come to a ball game and park in the church lot and not have to worry about it. You walk right through the parking lot around the building. You might be parking closer to the church than you would be parking out here someplace. So we could add parking spaces. The only time, of course, is when they have an activity that we have to not park in there. If they have a funeral or something special, that we wouldn't park there, and they just gotta let us know. And they let us know already, like when their church services are, because part of this is we agreed to kind of maintain the lot and clean the lot, and Brian's already been doing snow removal in the lot, and they picked a really good year to suggest that we do their snow removal. But it's also really a good faith thing ahead of time, that we are helping them already. And Brian says it takes like another 15 minutes to clear their lot while he's going through ours and just circle around. And when they're connected, it'll be even simpler. But it'll also be able to take the dumpsters from the front of the building and stick them in the back out of sight. It's kind of an eyesore. First thing you drive in, you have the dumpsters. And if you're a student in the new auto shop, you don't have to drive along the school and take a right turn 90 degrees to get into the auto shop. You can come right off Main Street through the parking lot, drive straight in. So it'll be simpler for kids driving straight into the new auto shop also. So some real advantages, and it's just a nice working relationship. The church has been, I think the church benefits, we benefit. I mean, if we would buy a parking lot and make a new parking lot, I mean, buying the land would be expensive, so we get almost like we own an extra spot. And Brian is really good with the cleaning of it, and he does the sidewalks too. So of course, they had snow before church on Sunday ago.
Well, I like the relationship between our neighbor there, so, and I know we've been pursuing this for a long time, so glad to get it all in writing.
Part of it being get this approved now is that Findorf can start pull permits, because they would level that for us, get the berm down and level it all up for us, but they can't get those permits if we don't have permission to use the property.
So with that, any other questions? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the parking lot use agreement.
I'll make the motion to approve the parking lot use agreement.
We have a motion by Nate. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sorry, that was Guy.
Oh.
And a second by Guy. All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. All those opposed. All right, we'll move on to band trip, or choir band trip.
Schroer is here to talk about the potential band trip and choir trip.
Sorry.
This is, we're currently planning our, I think, 11th or 12th biannual choir band trip to Chicago with middle school and high school students. The price isn't on there, but the total price per person would be $339. The date is April 22nd. We will be leaving around 5:30 a.m., returning at 8:30 p.m. It's a school day this time. We've found it's a little extra busy on weekends depending on what's going on in Chicago at the time. So this time we're trying a Wednesday, and then we're going to come home earlier than we normally would so that the kids can get to school the next day and not be well, they may still be totally exhausted, but hopefully not like when we've been till almost midnight sometimes on a Saturday. The bus is a coach bus. You can see from the information there. We'll be starting at the Shed Aquarium. Then students can have lunch there on their own. They can bring a lunch or buy a lunch there. I think there's gift shops and stuff. We went this past year with my granddaughter, and she enjoyed it very much. It was interesting for all ages. All of us loved every minute of it. Then we'll travel to the CIBC Theater to see Hamilton. After that, dinner at DeBevick's, and then 3 hours back home again. But this would be 11th or 12th time we've gone.
And do you have a certain number of students you need to be able to go on the trip?
Yes, I've talked with the tour company, and it's a 56-person bus. I think if we get around 45 to 50 students, it should be able to, cover the costs with that. We do have a little extra money in the choir account should anything be weird, but they also now have travel insurance where the kids can register online with Bob Rogers, and if they pay, it's kind of minimal. I think it's at like $11 or $12. They can have travel insurance in case something goes wrong at the last minute. But also, we've got money in the choir account that has been there for a while, and if any kid had a last-minute illness, it would be no problem to cover their seat if we couldn't find someone else to take their spot.
And is there fundraising available to help families cover it?
Yes, we're going to do a fundraiser in the spring. We used to do it in the fall, but this year we're going to do the fundraiser in, not spring, February, March. It's a catalog of all kinds of things, kitchen things, food, like mixes to bake and make things, wrapping paper, all kinds of stuff in there. And kids can take the catalog to their families or have mom or dad take it to their work. But they can also order online. So if your grandma's in California, she can order something, and the students get 40% of the total. So if they sell $100 worth of stuff, $40 is theirs for the trip.
Okay. I think I always like to say it, if there's ever students that can't make it due to financial, make sure we're talking to administration.
Once in a while, and like I said, we do have that extra money. I mean, I don't make it super public, but
Yep.
if there's a kid who can't, you can figure it out. And sometimes students who are graduating or have graduated will say, I have this $100 left from last year's fundraiser that I didn't need. Give it to my little brother, or give it to my good friend.
Yep.
We can do that too. So,
Okay.
yeah, we can help everybody.
All right, any questions about the band and choir trip? All right, I will take a motion to approve the band and choir trip as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
All right, we have a motion by Brent. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Nate. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. All right, and we will move on to staffing updates.
All right, so I do have a retirement that came in this month. Mr. Doolittle let me know that at the end of the school year, he would be retiring. So I just want to thank Mr. Doolittle for all of his services here. Jim does a lot of different things for us outside of just being a classroom teacher. He's making sure the flags are up each day. He's a big proponent and a big helper for the Veterans Day program. Obviously, there's the basketball pieces during summer school, during the school year. So he's just got his hands on a lot of different things as a teacher. And I just, it's been a pleasure working with him. Jim wanted me to let you guys know, he just wants to thank you for supporting him and having him on staff, and really he just feels like it's been a pleasure working for the Fall River School District and all the kids in the community, and he's really loved his time here.
I didn't see him sneak out. I was excited to thank him, so make sure you pass along our thanks that's a lot of years of service. I know many of our kids have gone up through his classrooms,
Yep.
but yeah.
Certainly will make sure I do that.
Thank you. All right, then I will take a motion to accept Jim Doolittle's retirement.
I'll make a motion to accept Jim Doolittle's fourth grade teaching retirement.
All right, we have a motion by Nate. Do I have a second? Seconded by Guy. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we will move on to the principal's report.
All right, so I know last month, you guys approved looking for an aide and, posting that and hiring that, so just an update on that. We did post that. We got a couple different candidates to apply. We have an interview tomorrow night for one of the candidates. Jenny, Maria, and I will interview that individual, and then, I just want to thank also the special ed staff and their schedules and everything that goes around scheduling special ed kids and services and who, when, and where, because there's just a lot to that puzzle. They've spent a lot of time with the three of us, making sure we have those schedules understood on our side so that we know where the support needs to be. And so that if we do move forward with a hire, that we're utilizing that person the best that we can. I want to thank Heather Robbins, kindergarten teacher, and Andrea Pollen, second grade teacher, for attending the SLATE conference recently. That brings, the purpose of that conference is to educate our teachers on how to best implement technology within the classroom with students. That's obviously an ongoing thing, and there's always updates to that. Jenny, Maria, and I talked about making sure they get some time also to do some planning so that they can also present to staff during a future PD here. So I think that'll be good knowledge, not just for the ones who went, but also for the staff as a whole, so they can implement some of those techniques into their classroom. Recently, Dr. Treptow and I have been working pretty hard on, if you may recall, in the special ed department, we looked at and purchased something called the Wilson Reading System. And that's to update the interventions that our students who are most significantly in need of a reading intervention, a program that can best support them. We spent a lot of time over the summer on it. Our staff went through some initial training. And then this school year, we've been working to make sure that they get ongoing training. So that's kind of what we met tonight with them, our staff, to let them know that we are going to be going forward with that training. It's a year-long process, so it's a big endeavor when you go through the training. It's about 90 hours of time. And Jenny did a really good job of creating a schedule that kind of balances both their professional obligations of servicing our students, but while also over the next year making sure they have the time they need built into their schedules to go through the training piece. So I'm excited for it for our special ed students, because I do think those who are in need of that, it'll make a big difference for them, and we'll see hopefully some gains in closing the gap for some of those students. And then lastly, the elementary school recently received an award from U.S. News and World Report as one of the best elementary schools in the nation. I'll just kind of pass this around. They're looking at your school report card data and things like that. You guys can take a look at this. What they provide us then is we can look at purchasing some promotional pieces or in-house. But I think it's important that the community know and our staff know of the hard work they do and our students do, and promote, we have a really good thing going here in Fall River. And we're making sure our students are ready for the future, and this is just another recognition of that. And I think some of those promotional pieces, if we can put them out front, put them outside, stick them on our website, I think that goes a long way in promoting and telling our story as a school district. So I want to thank the staff, because they're a big part, they're the part of what makes stuff like this happen, and also the kids' hard work. So just wanted to share that. Any questions for me?
Awesome. That's nice. Pretty cool. Yeah, congratulations. I know it came up in the finance committee that it's getting more and more difficult to operate a small school, and I think this is just one of those things that recognizes that Fall River's doing a good job at it. So
yeah, you want to be able to communicate our why of what we're doing and the benefit it has to the community and our students. And this is one way to do that.
thank you.
Yep.
All right, I think I'm next. Lindsay touched on the Christmas party. So Friday after school, middle school and high school students will be having their holiday parties here at school. High schoolers kind of get to choose between, Lindsay talked about it, movies,
missing homework because some of them will need that as the end of the semester is fast approaching. A craft room, board games, some of them get to go to the tech ed shop, or they can also choose to work on some projects in the art room. And then student council will be serving hot chocolate to the high school students in the afternoon. Middle schoolers have a similar kind of thing going where they will have board games and a movie in the multipurpose room. And then there will also be a couple of students going to tech ed to work on some projects. And then there will also be a group of students who need to finish up work, so we will get their homework all completed if they need some extra time on that. And it'll be nice because they'll have some support and a little bit more individual time with some teachers for that. So that's what Friday afternoon looks like. I am in the midst of some teacher observations. So some of our teachers are observed 3 times throughout the year, and some of them are observed twice. So for the teachers that are observed 3 times, I'm in my mid-year review. So it's nice to see them where they're really comfortable, which is teaching their students. And I would say my favorite part is that follow-up conversation, because you really get a good understanding of where teachers are at in terms of all of the other things that go on in their day. So I really enjoy the follow-up conversation. I think it's nice that they get to hear from me and I get to hear from them in a one-on-one setting. So that's pretty fun. We are doing our curriculum review process. We met tonight after school. So Mr. Verrier is working with some special ed teachers at that. Mrs. Hayden is working with some math teachers on the year 1 review of our math curriculum. And then I get the social studies and ELA teachers, and we are in year 2 of some review cycles. So potentially look for education committee in the spring. We'll be looking for some new resources that we would like to adopt. And right now we're going through the vetting process. So look for some of those things in the spring once they kind of figure out exactly which resources they think will work best for them. Mr. Crombie and I are working on the schedule for next year. So 8th graders are filling out their 4-year course plan in their ACP class. Things, if parent, in case anybody has an 8th grader here, things should be coming home very shortly in the next day or 2. And then juniors are working on their final schedule. Mr. Crombie is going to meet individually with juniors and parents if they would like that. So that's something nice that we are kind of vamping up that we haven't necessarily done in the past. And then we're on the first stages of creating the schedule, so I think we're at a good place to have things stay on track. And then ending with a positive, we had 2 students that we sent to HSED program at Moraine Park. Both have officially finished the HSED program, which is very exciting for both of them. One is currently employed, but also looking to attend the welding program at Moraine Park next semester. So that's pretty cool. And then the other one just finished today. We got news. I haven't even talked to her yet. And she is employed and looking to continue in the workforce as far as I know, but you know, plans change sometimes. So if we give her a call tomorrow or Friday, hopefully we'll hear from her as to what she really wants to do. So all good news around that way.
That's 2 of 2, right?
Yes.
Third one didn't. Awesome.
And just a really positive experience, I think, for everybody. Only good things from the person over at Moraine Park that was working with them. Parents, kids, everybody had a really enjoyable experience. It was unknown for some of us, and so I think it couldn't have gone any better.
We've learned a lot about the process. Spent time on the phone with DPI and...
Also a positive, you can call DPI and they answer you the first time.
We called, Maria, well, it was the 2 of us, right? And it didn't go to voicemail, it didn't go to an administrative assistant, the woman
we thought we better mark that down on the calendar because it's probably not going to happen again.
We looked at each other and I was like, all prepared to leave a message, and no, we had a really good conversation.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got.
Perfect, thank you. So I had the joy of attending the band and choir concerts this year. For those of you that were able to attend, I know Ken, I saw you, I think, at both. I think you don't have any kids in band or choir. So it's always great to see them come in and showcase what they have been working on for months since the beginning of the school year. But it's also really good just to see all of the families come together and just to celebrate the holiday season that's coming up. And last night there was not a seat open. I think there was a few kind of here and there, but it was a packed house last night at that concert, at the band concert. So that was really good. We also had our testing incentive for our 8th graders and our 10th graders. So what we did is we calculated which groups for middle school and then a separate one for high school, which class had the most growth from year to year. So looking at just trying to get them to do their best and find that drive to do their best on that one test, because for them it doesn't mean so much, but for us it means a lot. So they were able to get pizza and a movie last week, I think it was. And then also another celebration that hasn't gotten out is Melissa Litherland won the Wisconsin Agriculture in the Classroom grant. And so it's Chef's Cycle Turning Scraps into Soil, where culinary arts meets agriculture. The students will transform leftovers into lessons in composting and plant growth. So again, we'll have that crossover work and working together. And then I've spent a lot of time supporting wherever is needed. Floating tonight between this, like Ryan said, the special ed meeting, and then helping Kendra with finishing up her math meeting. All of the other projects that I've been working on are in the succession planning document that I think everybody got a copy of. So really just looking at strategic planning and vision and goals for starting this summer. It's getting real, Mr. Burr. Exactly. And working on that curriculum development and just making sure that learning a lot about the operations of the building and having conversations with staff members about job descriptions, and just really trying to get a solid understanding of what is everyone doing, what should they be doing, and what is it going to look like as we go forward. So this last month has been a very short one since our last meeting because of Thanksgiving, but also very busy. Thanks.
And Mr. Burr. Oh, no, we have a new.
You guys sick of reports yet? So I was going to focus on some more recent things that Dennis and I have been working on, but I also wanted to mention I've been working on my school business management program through UW-Whitewater. I had started an internship in the spring with Dennis, where they give you a portfolio of all these things that you should know as a business manager. And so worked through that in spring and all of fall, and I just finished that up in December. So my internship has been finished, and within that time, Dennis and I have worked on a lot of different things. More recently, the Baird model, just learning that process. I went to a workshop where they kind of walk through each tab and what each tab does and where the information goes and what you can do with that. So we'll continue working on that and update the projections as the numbers change throughout the year. So that's been a good thing to learn. Obviously, just kind of gaining knowledge in the fiscal reporting. There is a lot of reporting as a business manager. I found out it's constant. So a challenge with that is most of them are only once a year. So I kind of learned them one time, and then as I come around to that next year, it might be a little bit to work through them, but it's good to at least see it in the beginning. So something I want to focus on more is just becoming familiar with the WUFAR coding, which is basically all of the accounting codes that we use in the business office. So I'm going to work on that in the next few months and ask Dennis questions on that as needed. And then I've also been training Kelsey in some of the things that I'm going to be handing over to her. So some cash management, kind of taught her how to make the cash boxes and take deposits to the banks and things like that. And then she'll also be kind of taking over some of the food service reporting and the Neola policies as well. So through all that, Dennis is training me, I'm training Kelsey, and so far everything's going well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Part of what you're talking about there is when I came, the part-time business manager position disappeared. And there was a concern when I left, I would have to hire back a full new position. Well, because of the way we were trying to reorganize things and passing off some of the stuff that I do to Andrea and the rest of the stuff to Jennifer, we found a way we don't have to pass off half of what she's doing to a person who's already here, that's already employed. They have been an aide, but the plan is that they would be part-time aide, part-time doing the school board type stuff that she does and the cash and stuff, so we don't have to add another person when I leave, because I have the dual role, and we're trying to find a way not to add another person. We think we found how to do that with our existing staff, and part of the beauty of this year is we have time to train each other, and there's another place that she can then train someone to do some stuff that she's been doing, so that's another benefit of the year that we have to make this happen, so it should be much smoother, and they say she's seen how I've gone through the state reports, and she's helped do some, but also she's learned a lot of just problem solving and figuring out, well, what did we put in last year? How does that compare to this year? So that's been good. In the transition thing, most of the stuff I have there is set on communicating and keeping everybody at these two tables informed and involved in the discussions, whether it's school finances, the day-to-day operations, buildings and grounds, the construction process, so that the more people who understand, the better. And I could include Colleen Waterworth on that too, because as we talk finance, it's usually Colleen, Andrea, and I, so to make sure she also has knowledge. So Andrea can go to Colleen and say, tell me, let's talk about this, so that Colleen is knowledgeable also, that she's can be an integral part of what Andrea's doing and be a good right hand for her also at the same time. Out of my report for other things, Jennifer and I attended the joint review board at the village. Another thing, if I'm gonna go do something, she's gonna tag along with me and we're gonna do it together. There's another thing we did. It wasn't a long process, but then after we're done, it was good to talk to the community member that was there, who's a former school board member, and Jennifer had a nice conversation with Jeff Slotin. I think just good building relationships, and we had the time to sit around and discuss things with those folks, and it was a good experience. The TIF district doesn't end until 2034, so it's quite a ways out there, but we were able to do that the other day. And my last thing is you got the audit, so if you can't sleep tonight, pull this out. If you could possibly bring this back next time, on January 14th, bring this back with you, and we'll go through the information you see in here then, but you can have it ahead of time. It makes more sense not to just, here it is, and I tell you what's in it, but if you want to look at it, you want to see what's in there, you have a chance to look at it, see if you have any questions, and we can talk about that next month. There we go.
I'm excited.
You went to that TIF district, I thought, did they say, you said 34 days?
I think 2034.
But I don't guess I'm not 100% sure, I don't remember how it works, but I thought they sold all the properties out there.
Yes, they did.
Close up then?
They won't close it until they've recouped all the expenses that they had. So they've got the expenses that they've incurred, the revenue's got to meet that, and then they can close it. They anticipate 2034.
Because I thought they had sold everything.
Yes, they sold the last piece just recently.
Okay, which is good for the school district.
It's
and the
really
village.
good. Yeah. So.
All right, very good. Any other questions for any of our administration? With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Nate, seconded by Brent. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 7-12.
Got it, Chuck.